So Soll Center for Student Opportunity, right in the center of campus, big open space. It's a glass box, so it's pretty easy to spot, right opposite the ath, right next door to the hub. So we get a lot of students stopping by on their way to or from meals, as well as for all of the appointments. And as you can see on the sign behind, Scholar Communities, Career Services, sponsored internships and experiences. So without further ado, I'm going to actually hand over to my colleague Priscilla. And Priscilla has very recently joined us, but she comes with a lot of experience at the Claremont colleges, being a PITSA graduate, and also having worked on the PITSA campus for a number of years. And these are a few reasons why we highly recommend that your student meets with Priscilla. So Priscilla, over to you.
Thank you, Ursula. Thank you everyone for being here. I'm excited to at some point hopefully meet every single one of the students that you are here for. So as Ursula mentioned, I am new to CMC and Career Services, but I have experience with Res Life and just other experiences in the Claremont colleges. So I'm very familiar with all of the resources of the 5 Cs, as well as with CMC. And my position here is a dedicated person for all of the first years and new students to meet with me, to get guidance on, career services resources, as well as just a transition into their first year, and just really helping them with their journey of career exploration in this first year, and making sure that they're ready to start the school year with applying to on-campus jobs, and then in the future, all the way to for summer internships. So really here for them in this first year. And I hope to meet with them at some point within the first semester. And as you see here on the slide, we have noticed that students who meet with the first year coach are just, more likely to attend more career services events, meet with the staff that, aside from me, that also works in this office, just complete their online profiles, upload a professional resume, and be able to apply and get summer internship funding. So it is really important and essential that, they try to meet with me within that first semester. And also just overall last year, they had a really good outcome, and about 94, I think it's 94% of students met with the first year coach. So again, this year, really trying to make sure we're putting ourselves out there for the students. And part of that is a lot of our first year programming. So I will go into more detail in terms of some of these programs, but aside from it being myself as the first year coach, we also have our open house, individual coaching appointments, peers and careers, the job shadowing program, and then seminars on, helping them with their first year summer experiences. And so here we have some pictures of our first event that is actually going to be coming up. So this is something that we want to make sure they all know about, is our open house. So this is going to be during the new student orientation on Friday, the 25th, from 1 to 4:30, where it's really just a casual moment for them to meet us, meet everyone from the team so that they know that we're here for them, as well as just, being able to see the office. And then we will have mini workshops where they can learn more about our platforms that we have that are important for them to know within the first year. Here's some other examples of our upcoming workshops. So here we see 2 flyers. One is for the open house. Again, really want to make sure that they all come, they could get some ice cream and get to meet us. And then also our career skills building workshops. So that's going to be a series that we're going to have twice in the semester. So the first 3 are the first week of school. So we know that can be a little overwhelming, but we do want to make sure that they have those resources and those skills and just their resume and everything ready for the first week and moving forward from that. So the first one we have is applying to on-campus jobs. On-campus jobs are really important for the students to just get experience, be more integrated into campus. And it's something that a lot of students do. So we want to make sure they're ready for that. They know the platforms, they're able to find jobs and apply. And then from there, we're going to do the resume and cover letter and then successful interviewing, since some of the jobs do require an interview, and we want to make sure they're ready for all of that. This will also help them for the future when they apply to other jobs or internships or anything else. Another event that we have is called Peers and Careers, and this is also like a series that we have in the spring semester. And it's seniors, as it says here, like paying it forward to first-year students. It's a panel, and usually it's in every interest cluster, so which we'll talk a little bit more about. And so it's usually in different industries. The seniors get to help out the first years and kind of tell them, you know, in the real world, how does it look like to find an internship? What do they need to have? What they learned? Any really experience that they had during that portion. How do they reach out to people? Anything they want to share with the first years. And so that is something that is really helpful, and it's takes a lot of pressure off the first years, because it is, you know, their peers helping them out and talking to them about it. Another example of programming that we have is the job shadowing program. So this is virtual job shadow visits, usually in the spring of 2024. So always around that time, and they're hosted by alumni and parents. This is also a good way for families to, you know, volunteer and be there for the CMC community. And again, it's kind of what it sounds like, a job shadow, where we talk about what a job might look like. The students can ask any questions, make connections, and really get to see what it is like to work in different industries.
All right. Thank you, Priscilla. I'm going to take back over. So that kind of just gives you a very brief snapshot. Obviously, there is a lot more going on as well, but those are some of the highlights of the program that is specifically focused on first-year students and helping them gain as much experience and insights and asking questions. And, you know, our overall philosophy at CMC is you don't really know what you don't know, right? Until you actually go out and start exploring. And so the first year is all about exploration. No pressure in terms of, like, you know, getting an internship at the end of your first summer. I know many students want to do that, and there's many opportunities to be able to do that. But we want to make sure that by the time they get to the end of their first year and they're becoming rising sophomores, they're ready to think about what would be the best way to spend their summer. And if that summer happens to be some kind of internship or experience, then we have them. Other students might just want to travel, sleep, catch up on academics, get a job. There's a whole host of different options available in your freshman summer. But for those who do want to take advantage of some of the things that CMC has to offer, then internships is a great place to be. So internships and experiences are super valuable. I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir here in terms of everybody understanding that internships, particularly in the US, are an incredible way to help students both build skills and experience, figure out what they like and they don't like, figure out, you know, what is the profession or industry that they want to explore before they have to commit full-time after graduation. They get 3 chances, right? Freshman summer, sophomore summer, junior summer, in order to be able to kind of hone in on what their interest might be. And all the way through, they're making valuable networking connections. And it is very true that having internships on your resume can really signal to employers that you have been, you know, you're used to working in a professional environment. You understand what is you know, the kind of skills, and you've been basically tested a little bit before you are recruited full-time. So internships really are super valuable. And the great news is CMC excels at helping your students take advantage of internships and experiences. And so we try our best to support all CMC students, regardless of financial need, in pursuing summer experiences. And we tend to believe earlier experiences tend to be more beneficial to students than, say, for example, their junior year. There are some college campuses where they put all of their funding and all of their support into junior summers to help them with those return offers. We flip it. We believe if you have a really good set of experiences in your first and or your second summer, then that positions you really well to get a really great junior internship, which will be paid and which will hopefully have a return offer associated with it. So we really emphasize those first and second year summers as being opportunities for students. And there's a degree of actually having students practice. What is it like to recruit? What is it like to find opportunities, to figure out the best way to build connections in those firms, and to apply successfully to get a summer internship? And we have many ways that we help them do that. Obviously, individualized coaching is a key component of everything your student is going to experience at CMC, and particularly at the Soll Center as well. So individual appointments and having meetings with some of the staff, including Priscilla, to figure out what's the best, like what's your hunch for how you would like to spend your first summer, and then putting them in contact with a whole host of different resources. A couple of the big ones, everybody across the consortium, Claremont consortium, utilizes a career platform called Handshake. And we share resources. So if one campus meets with an employer, all the students across all 7 campuses can get to see both that employer and the jobs and the events. So we have 8,000 internships typically available on Handshake at any one time. And then we also track every internship that students have been doing since 2012, to the extent that we can, in terms of gathering this information. And so we utilize these as like internship ideas. This is what CMCers have done before you. And by the way, this was the student or now alum who did it. If you want to reach out and have a chat about what that was like and the pros and cons, then that's a really great way to kind of figure things out. So these are some of the things we're going to be emphasizing as we go into winter break. So that when they come back in the spring, maybe they've had a chance to talk to you. One of the biggest questions or one of the biggest things I hear from students say when they come back in January is like, my parents have been pestering me to figure out what am I doing this summer? Can we now start talking about internships or opportunities? So I highly recommend that you have that conversation with them, maybe over winter break, maybe going into the spring break, when many of these opportunities are opening up. Because our application opens in February, so that's a perfect time. And we have a rolling application. We recognize many students are going to need more time to figure out what they're doing, to apply to things, to get an offer. And so we keep the application open from February to May. And there's no downside whether you apply in February or you apply in May. Typically, there's no impact on the amount of funding or the opportunity for actually accessing the funding. So we have as we'll see on the next slide, a robust amount of money available to be able to support students, and we are prioritizing first year summers for those students who want to take advantage of it. So what did we do this summer? This summer, the students are just finishing up. They've got like 2 or 3 weeks left before they're going to be coming back on campus. And this is a snapshot of what we saw. We were able to fund 466 students. And the average award has been creeping up every year. Last year, for example, it was 4,500. So cost of living creeps up. And the average amount that we gave for those 466 students was 4,664. And that includes a combination of people, students who were interning domestically in the US and interning internationally. And so what does that mean? If you do the math, we spent over $2 million this past summer on internships and experiences for students. And those students went to 39 different countries, including the US. And you'll see the class breakdown is really interesting. Almost half of all first years take advantage of this funding, but not everybody, right? There's not everybody needs to or wants to take advantage of this internship funding. But when they get to their sophomore year, more take up. 62% of sophomores are really excited to be able to utilize this funding. And then by the time we get to the junior year, as I said earlier, we're hoping that most juniors are in well-paid internships where they don't need to rely so much on funding to be able to support them. And by the way, this is not a fixed stipend that we hand out. This is all very much based on what does each student need in order to complete their internship or experience in the summer. We sit down with them to go through their budget. So that's another great skill we encourage students to gain, is to learn how to budget as they're going.
Ursula, we have a question here in the chat. Are the handshake internships for the Claremont colleges or many other colleges in the US utilizing Handshake?
So it's a great question. So first of all, there are many more internships available on Handshake. There are many more employers, but we as a consortium, we approve which employers and which jobs we want the students to see. So we're kind of ensuring that the students don't get overwhelmed by a ton of opportunities for which we know typically students are not that excited about. And we are highlighting those 6,000 opportunities were ones that were hand selected in terms of these are the internships that we think our students are going to be most interested in applying to based on previous years. So yes, they are open to other colleges, they are competitive, but that's a good thing, right? So having some competitive skin in the game is a good thing. We help those students get ready with their application materials, with their interviewing, exactly through some of the workshops that Priscilla was outlining. And then I'm seeing another question there about consortium for the 7Cs, for the Claremont consortium. The same opportunities available to all Claremont students, or are they CMC specific? Another great question. So on Handshake, all students across the consortium can see the exact same opportunities. However, CMC has a very active community of alumni and parents where we are frequently putting forward and presenting to students examples of opportunities where an alum or a parent or a family member has let us know, as a member of the CMC community, I have an opportunity that I think would be great for a CMC student. And then we only promote those to our CMC students. So there's kind of layers of opportunities. The big takeaway on this, if there's one message you can communicate to your student, please read emails from the Soll Center for Student Opportunity. The biggest thing I hear from students is, I didn't even know that was a thing I could apply to, or that existed, because there's so many emails, there's so little time. We know how many emails we typically get through in any given day. For students, it can be really overwhelming in their first year. So please encourage them to read emails, particularly from us, because there will be lots of opportunities that are being specifically focused on CMC community, providing opportunities to CMC students. And sometimes they'll be uploaded to Handshake, but many times it's through emails. Hopefully that answers the question. All right, so now, where does all of this lead us? What can you expect by the time, gosh, 4 years' time, when graduation is happening? So the good news is all of this programming that Priscilla talked about, the individual outreach and meetings, the CMC community, all of these things lead to really good outcomes for students. We have, we typically combine the last 3 years to make sure, you know, to iron out any bumps in the road, but we're pretty consistent on these numbers every year. Over 97% of our students, 6 months after they graduate, know exactly what they're doing. They're going into a full-time position, they're going to grad school, they're accepting a fellowship, they're traveling, whatever it may be. 97% have got things figured out 6 months after graduation. And it's 6 months, this is the industry standard, because sometimes, you know, things happen during the summer. It takes a few things, you know, a little while for people to figure things out. But 6 months is the industry standard for measuring this. So this is a very good percentage across the board, but particularly for a liberal arts college. So just to kind of put that in, so what does that mean? You can do the math. only 2.7% seeking employment, which is a tiny handful of students every year. And frequently they have other things going on. They just want to take a break. Their senior year was hard and they just need a little bit more time. But we reach out to every single one of those students to make sure they're getting the support after graduation that they need, so that they can feel really comfortable that that they're getting the support and help that would be helpful to them. And the really amazing thing is, this isn't based on a small sample. We know these numbers because we know exactly what over 85% of our our alumni are doing at any one time. So over the last 3 years, we know exactly what those 820 alumni are doing. So we're feeling pretty confident with these numbers. And then over the last 3 years, the median starting salary of 80,000, based off reporting from 253 alumni. This past year, the class of 2022, this number leapt up to 87,000. So we're feeling pretty good about that as a median. And then the vast majority of students, the new graduates, after they've graduated, report back that they find the career services helpful in providing that advice. So we hope that we are doing some small part in helping to contribute to these numbers. And then this last thing I thought would be helpful to include, the importance of internships. 1 in 4 new grads talk that the most important thing that helped them to launch during their career was the fact that they went on an internship at some point during their time at CMC. And then where do these students end up? So remember I said 97% were had defined plans, knew exactly what they were doing. Well, 80% of them are employed full-time. The rest are at grad school or volunteering or military or something like that. So the 80% or so who are employed full-time, where do they go? Well, we have 3 powerhouses of interest clusters or industries. Accounting and financial services has traditionally been one of our largest areas where students go. Consulting, very big area as well. And then technology and entrepreneurship. That one's gone down a little bit in the last year or so because of the very volatile market that's been going on over there. But those are really the 3 big areas. Doesn't mean to say your student has to go into one of those 3 areas. That's why we have multiple interest clusters to suit and fit with whatever your students' interests, values, strengths are. But for many students, they see CMC as very pre-professional, and they're very excited about that because we have connections with employers, with alumni, with parents working across all of these areas. And it's it is pretty easy for us to be able to connect students to people to help them figure out the career path they want to go through. All right, I'm handing back over to Priscilla again to talk a little bit about how you can know what's going on, what's going to be hitting your students' mailbox, and how you can help support this messaging if you would like to.
Yes, so now that you have all of that information, I'm going to go over kind of a little bit of a timeline that we have for fall, winter, and spring semester, so you can kind of see what we're going to have available, kind of where your student should be, what they should be looking out for and kind of doing. And then if you are able to support in that process and helping us, making sure they have that messaging, when they come home for winter break, being like, hey, have you done this? Have you done that? Or are you thinking about your summer? Just making sure that they kind of are doing some of these things and are kind of in the right, going in the right direction. So for the fall semester, the first thing, again, the open house, really want to make sure we see them there. It's just a really good opportunity to be familiar with the space and get to know us. Another thing would be to complete their Handshake profile. So you heard us talk about Handshake a few times now. This is really important for them to be logged on. They have already received information on how to log on to their Handshake, and that is in their new student portal. I have talked to some of the first years in like a new student party or something like that, and some of them have not heard of it yet. So making sure, just asking them like, hey, have you checked out your new student portal? Make sure you're reading the messages, and that information is there, and they can already do that now from their homes. Is just signing up or signing in because they already have an account, and making sure they kind of set up this the surface level stuff on there, so that when they do come on campus and we start the first workshop, they already have that, and we can start a conversation to helping them find like their on-campus jobs, events, and anything else that is on there. Another important resource is VMOC, which is an AI platform that helps them with their resume. On there, we have the CMC template. They can upload a template and it really gives them information on how to improve their resume. For this one, I will be sending out more information next week. So they should be getting an email from us, just welcoming them to campus and kind of guiding them to log on to that. So they're able to also do that from home before they come to campus, just kind of getting a head start. And if they don't have a resume at all, the template is there, they can just start filling it in. So it is really simple for them. And then once they come on campus, we're going to help them review it, get everything ready so they can be ready for those on-campus jobs or other experiences where they may need a resume. And then again, attending the first year workshop series. So just letting them know, hey, like the first week of classes, there's going to be the workshop series, make sure you go. Applying to on-campus jobs, we would encourage all students to apply. There's many opportunities on campus, work study opportunities, not work study opportunities, just all available for students to apply and start getting that experience early on. And then another one is just meeting with me. So making sure, you tell them like there is someone there for you, make sure you meet with them at the Soll Center, and really encouraging them to come into the office and having that individual appointment. So for the winter break, first of all, of course, we want them to enjoy the winter break, sleep, rest, be with family and friends, really be present, especially it's their, first semester back or doing something in between. So really making sure they have that time off. And then from there, once it gets closer to coming back to campus, preparing for their return, updating their resume. So if they did have a job or if they joined a new club, have like any activities that are new for them where they built skills, they can definitely update their resumes with that and make sure they're ready for that, especially if they want to apply to a new job or anything like that. There are some things that hire in the spring for the sophomore year, so they can definitely get ready and start updating those things. Creating or updating a LinkedIn profile is really important, making sure they have that for when they start applying to things that are also outside of the CMC campus. And then start identifying potential internships and experiences for the summer. So they might not know exactly what they want to do, or maybe they don't know how to start that search, but maybe just thinking about like, oh, what do I want to do? What skills do I want to learn this summer? Do I want to be on campus? Do I want to go out of state? Do I want to stay near my house? Like just starting to think about like maybe what can they do for that summer. And then for the spring semester, of course, we have a lot of programming for them to really explore the different industries. So really just attending the peers and careers, attending the job shadow, virtual video calls we have, and then meeting with me for summer plans. So they can meet with me multiple times if they're able to. And so really encouraging them, to come back and start, preparing a summer plan, learning about the summer funding and application process. There will be other workshops for that as well. And then I can also assist with them with like helping them with their budget or anything else that they may need assistance with, or really just getting them the information and really getting them to apply to those opportunities, as well as applying for internships. So we're really here for them in any step of the process that they may need throughout the year.
All right, I'm just going to finish this off before we open up to questions. I've been trying to respond to a number in the chat already, but I'm sure there will be some other ones that come through as well. So what we often find, I've alluded to this before, the CMC community is strong, and some of the strongest members are the families who are not only hoping to be able to support and help their own student, but other students in that community and other freshmen and people who may be able to take advantage of things that you can offer from your own world. And so I often get parents saying, how can I help? What can I do? What can I contribute? And so here are some flavors of some things. The first is over orientation weekend. You are going to get an invitation to join a platform called Engage CMC. And Engage CMC is a platform for the CMC community. It is where alumni are. It is where parents will be invited starting from this orientation, and students. And the students use this as a way to connect with alumni and with parents, as well as with staff and faculty who are willing to help, who are saying, ask me any questions, let me open doors at my workplace, let me give you some advice about what it's like to go to grad school, or what it's like to work in marketing, or whatever it may be. And so that's a great way, relatively low effort on your part to just check a box to say, yes, I'm willing to be there for students, but has an immensely high impact on the students who are looking for advice. First and second year students often just have questions. Juniors and seniors may be a little bit more strategic in terms of saying, I would love to work where you work. How do I do that? What advice do you have for me? Things like that. The second way is that every year during Family Weekend in February, I'm sure if the date's available, Jeannie will pop it in the chat, Jeannie or Rebecca. But that we have during Family Weekend, we have an excellent event that we typically run on a Saturday afternoon, where we invite as many parents who want to participate with as many students who want to participate, and we organize it around interest classes, and we just get people talking, chatting, networking, asking questions. And we've had a number of really successful connections made there where parents are able to give really great advice to students. So if you happen to be able to attend Family Weekend, definitely look out for that on the schedule as an event. And then finally, and in this particular job market and economic climate, this becomes increasingly important. Remember, I mentioned earlier that we often get referrals from CMC community members about jobs or internships that they think would be a great fit for an internship or for a full-time position for a CMC student. So that is an incredible way for you to be able to help students who are looking for more opportunities that are trusted, working with people that they know that they're going to be able to work with and support them. And so if you're interested in any of those three areas, have a look at those online volunteer forms at the bottom, and we'll pop that in the chat as well, to be able to have you sign up. There'll also be opportunities for you to sign up for this at orientation as well, but this is just kind of a heads up on that. And I think that's it. So I'm going to stop sharing so that I can get to see, you can see us again. And I'm open to question. I know there's been a lot coming in. So if you have any questions, please pop something in the chat, or just shout it out or raise your hand, whatever protocol you want to use on Zoom.
Thank you, Ursula. As we wait to see if there's any final questions, I will do a plug for orientation. The fact that you're here probably means that you've seen the registration page for orientation, but just wanted to make sure that you have registered for the actual event on the 20th. We're very hopeful that you can join us. Saves you a ton of time at the Parent Hospitality Center if you've registered in advance. So that will be at the hub. So before programming begins, if you could pop by the hub to get your name tag, we'll be passing out some swag. If you are interested in volunteering in any of our committees, we have the Career Development Committee, as Ursula mentioned, but we have many other parent volunteer committees, and there will be representatives there to talk to you about their experience with getting involved at CMC. You can meet other families, we'll have snacks. There's some air conditioning in there, which is nice on hot days. So stop by the Hospitality Center. Also, if you have any questions about orientation, moving in, you can pop those in the chat as well. Our office is handling that, so we have lots of knowledge. Here is the link for the orientation schedule. You have not yet registered. Also, that website, which we do refer to as the Parent Gateway, but you don't need to have credentials or log in. That Parent Gateway has a packing list, information about what to expect on the day. What else is there? links around. You can find, you know, the move in and move out schedule. So lots of things on the Parent Gateway. Just go poke around in there if you have a minute.
Jeannie, I had a question from somebody who joined the call late and didn't receive the earlier message that this is being recorded. How can they get access, to anybody who joined a little later, to the full recording?
So this link I just put in the chat, the schedule, that's where it takes us a few days to get the Zoom recording, upload it to YouTube, and then get it onto the web, but it will be linked there to the schedule. Already the session Student Wellbeing and Success that we had on Monday, that recording is posted now. So just give us a few days and that will be up. So also seeing international. Here we go. There's that link.
Well, while we're adding links, I would love if one of the great resources that we just finished updating was the Soll Center for Student Opportunity website. And so it is a great landing page with lots of links to different resources, with all of the different information. It kind of summarizes a lot of what we've covered in this presentation, but it also has a lot of additional things about the Soll Center and the student resources and our outcomes and some key data. So if you want to keep exploring, please feel free on the website. There's a lot more there. If you have additional questions beyond what we discussed today. Everybody's browser is going to be full of links right now.
Yeah, click and click and click. Okay, I don't see any other questions in the chat at this point. Also want to give a plug for parents@cmc.edu. Very, very easy to remember. If you have questions about anything, that is goes right into our inbox, and Rebecca and I help you find the person on campus that can best help you with your questions. So you don't have to necessarily go to the website to find, you know, the answer that you need. You could just say, hey, Jeannie and Rebecca, I have a question about our student's bill. I have a question about financial aid, and we'll get you to the right place. We'll be able to help you out. So thank you so much, Ursula and Priscilla, for being here today. I really appreciate your time and this super valuable information. And thank you to everyone who joined. There's nothing else. I think we are going to end a little early. All right. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you on August 20th.
Bye, everybody.